The naughty little boy kept pestering me to eat meat, but raising the siblings alone was extremely hard for me, so we could only eat steamed buns with pickled vegetables. Luckily, the sensible older sister helped me discipline her brother. The boy was afraid of his sister, so he behaved obediently. But after he heard from the neighbors that his sister was just someone I picked up, a surge of hatred grew deep inside him. He still went to the mountains with his sister to dig wild vegetables, but when she was not paying attention, he pushed her down the slope. From that day on, the sister disappeared without a trace. When I heard my son say his sister had accidentally fallen into the water, I searched both upstream and downstream in agony, yet I never knew this was all caused by my son. Unaware of the truth and worried about my son's safety, I sold the old house cheaply to the second uncle in the village and prepared to take my son to live in the city. I found a job as a mover, earning $50 a day. The boss originally did not want a woman because he feared I lacked strength, but seeing the strength I gained from years of farm work, he finally gave me a chance, even with such low pay. I still worked with all my strength. Yet over the years, my son never understood or cared about me. Instead, he showed up every payday, took all my hard-earned money, and treated his so-called friends to big meals. Watching my son go down the wrong path, I was anxious and heartbroken. I gently advised him to make good friends and find a proper job. He was now my entire world. But his words, "She is already dead," pierced my heart deeply. Unable to argue back, I trembled as I handed over my hard-earned money. To save money, I silently gnawed on dry, hard buns, which led to malnutrition and nearly made me faint. The boss was so scared that he did not dare to hire me again, but I still begged desperately to stay. In the end, the boss softened and agreed. Yet my son came again asking for money, claiming he had a girlfriend now. I was overjoyed when I heard this. I wanted to see my future daughter-in-law, but my son refused. He bluntly said my dirty appearance would embarrass him. Just like that, the little money I had was taken away again. He turned around and called someone to buy a bag for his girlfriend. Even the boss could not stand it anymore. Then one day, I heard some news. From the second uncle, I learned my son was finally getting married. But my son never told me. The uncle complained that he wanted to drink a celebratory toast, but my son pretended not to know him and even chased him away. If he had not said this, I might still not know even now. Still, I comforted myself, saying my son was just too busy. I asked the boss for leave and rushed to the wedding, but I almost got hit by a car while crossing the street. At that moment, a girl got out to help me. I realized she looked very much like my daughter, but she was too young back then to remember me. Because I was rushing to the wedding, I hurried away, but accidentally left behind the bracelet my daughter gave me as a child. When the girl saw the bracelet, she suddenly remembered that the woman who called her daughter was actually her mother. When I arrived at my son's wedding venue, the security guards would not let me in. My son finally came over after seeing me, but only to make me leave. This scene was seen by the bride's family, so my son said I was just a beggar and chased me away. I begged him for an explanation, but he impatiently shoved a stack of red envelopes at me and urged me to leave quickly. I later returned wanting to leave gifts for my son and daughter-in-law, but that was when I could no longer leave. Because the bride's mother saw the red envelopes in my pocket, she immediately accused me of stealing. I wanted to explain that my son gave them to me, but I feared ruining his future. I could only wave my hands and say I did not steal. But since I could not explain clearly, the mother and daughter prepared to teach me a lesson. They even demanded my son do it himself. My son softly pleaded with them, but they refused to let it go. They threatened that if he did not act